If only I had spidey senses, so I can tell when something's wrong. Oh, and I'm set to protect this heart from breaking into pieces. Where's my hammer? Where's the shield? Oh, the strength to carry the weight of the world. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Snap Decisions. My name, of course, is Joe, your host with the most, your Snap DJ, and I have a guest that I just met not too long ago over on X, and it is Birb who's with me tonight. How are you?
Hello. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to chat about Sanctum, of course. That's all the rage right now that everybody's playing. We're going to talk about the new cards coming up, obviously, in March. We have a new season coming up. We have a patch, I think, coming up. Not a patch. Is it an OTA or a patch? Something's coming up in a couple days. I think it's an OTA, actually, tomorrow.
I think so.
So we have that coming up. We have a lot of stuff going on in Marvel Snap. But first of all, so tell me a little bit about yourself. Obviously, you're a Snap player, but what kind of brought you to playing Marvel Snap? Were you a card gamer prior to that, and what got you into Snap?
Great question. Yeah, I am not a huge gamer. I always liked games on my phone. I would mostly play on the subway. I live in New York, so it was little like the match 3 type games, like mom games as I like to call them, just something to kind of pass the time. But I never really got into gaming. I actually bought a Switch during the pandemic, and I don't think I've used it in over a year. I think growing up, I wasn't allowed to have video games, so I just never developed that habit or that skill. And I got an Oculus. That's probably the closest thing to a real gaming console. And as soon as I joined a game, I had a lot of young people yelling at me that I was bad at it. I was like, this is not for me. But I picked up Snap actually from listening to a podcast, not Snap related, just a culture podcast, and the host was talking about the game, and I was like, oh, this sounds amazing. So I was a huge Marvel fan, and I actually used to collect cards as a child. So picked it up around, it was the Black Panther season, so pretty early, not like beta, but pretty early, and loved playing it, and have really been locked in ever since. I love the play style, I love how casual it is, I love the art. I'm a big variant collector, and it's the right sweet spot of something to do, but I don't have to be on a headset with a bunch of people yelling at me.
That's a good thing, right? Yeah, that's a. I'll tell you, I've been a gamer for a long time. I mean, I've had gaming systems dating back to in television in the late 70s, but I'm like almost the same way now. Like I have a PS5, I don't touch it. I literally don't touch it. I mean, I do a lot of I play a lot of Snap, and I mean for reasons of doing the content with this too. But I haven't touched it in such a long time, and the Oculus thing, I was curious a couple of years ago. I think it was Christmas time. I bought one, and I'm like, I kind of thought I'd be okay with it. I can't play games that have a lot of motion. I get motion sick, and I thought I'd be all right with it. I got it home, and well, first of all, I didn't realize you kind of need a pretty big space in order to use it, and we don't have that. Like my living room, we keep the games kind of small. So I'm like, okay, I'm navigating my way around and stuff like that, and I have it on. I'm like, all right, this is kind of cool. I got into the little thing that's your little whatever they call that, your
A little
room or whatever.
safety zone.
Yeah. And I'm looking around, and I'm like, okay. And then they show you how you could change like the scenery. So I changed it to, I think one of them was Mars. So I changed it to Mars. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be cool. So I'm looking up in the sky. I'm like, wow, this is kind of neat. And then I look down, and I'm like, I couldn't see my feet. I couldn't see, and then like I could just feel like the well of the. I'm like, oh yeah, this is not gonna work. So that was my experiment with the Oculus. I literally took it back the next day, and I'm like, nope, yeah, that's not gonna work. I was intrigued because there was a game out, a Darth Vader game for it, which I wanted to. I'm a big Star Wars fan too, so I wanted to try that, but I was like, nope, yeah, it's unfortunately not gonna work. So.
Yeah, I like social gaming. Like I always enjoyed Mario Kart and things like that. And I think I got the Oculus to be able to play with my friends. Whatever that game was where you slice through boxes to the music.
Oh yeah, that
that was a really popular one.
Is that Beat Saber?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So that I played a good amount of. But what I ended up doing was just logging into YouTube and watching the 360-degree nature documentaries. That was really fun. I was like, oh, I'm on a glacier. Oh, I'm under the water with manta rays, and I stopped playing games and just watched content. But it's funny that you say that because I would have friends over and put them in to an Oculus situation. I remember them having some real existential dread. They were like, I think I just experienced ego death.
Yeah, it's crazy. I never really thought I would be like I am. I do have a thing with heights. So I remember, and they had stuff like Oculus some years ago. I remember working for Verizon, and we got a Google glasses.
Oh yeah.
We had those, and we were messing around with those, and they had a Stranger Things demo on it, which was really cool. You were sitting in like the room, and you could see like the Christmas tree lights and everything like that going on in the picture and all that kind of stuff. And then one of the Demogorgons like literally walks up behind you. So it was kind of freaky.
Yeah.
But I did Google, I forget what it's called now. Google Tour, Google something. But anyway, they take you to like landmarks. So I had myself up on top of the tower in Seattle. And I'm up there, and I'm like, and it's same feeling. I'm up on the top. I'm looking around, like, okay, this is cool until I look down, and I'm like, oh, that's the end of that.
Yep. I remember Google Cardboard. That was something I checked out too, where you could put your phone in it.
Yeah.
That was neat. Yeah, that was again mostly just those immersive experiences, like that ride at Disney where it's like kind of a 360 view, and you're on like a tram that moves around. That's more
like
what I prefer.
they have a Spider-Man ride like that, I think. My wife would never go on it because she said it would make her. I've never been to Disney, never ever. My wife and kids have. I've never been, but it's definitely a thing. It was definitely a goal of mine. I have to get there for the Star Wars park, for the Tron ride now. My daughters have been there, and I have to go. There has to be a time when I get there.
Do they have Marvel anything? I know they have characters, but there's not like a Marvel world, right?
No, Universal does. So Universal does. They have a lot of Marvel stuff there. It's really weird because the one in California does. They have Avengers Mansion. They have a whole ton of stuff in that one. But the one that's in Florida is, I guess they have some kind of contract with Universal where they can't do any Marvel stuff because Universal does.
Interesting.
So I don't know. It's really, really weird. But yeah, I definitely have to go. I want to see all that stuff.
I was really impressed because I come from a design background, and I was impressed with the detail just of the rides, of all of the just sort of Imagineering, as they call it. But any ride, I went to the one in California. This is when Mad Men was still on the air, because I remember watching Mad Men at the end of the day, so a long time ago. But I remember just being so impressed with how detailed everything was, like the Jungle Cruise, and I was like, wow, all the details of the animals and the ship and the performances of all these out of work actors who are running the ride. It was really great.
I watch a lot of YouTube videos and stuff, and I would definitely love to go. I'm a horror guy too. I would definitely love to go when they have their Halloween horror nights, because I've seen so many people do tours of those. Although some of them, I'm a slasher film guy. I can watch all the blood, guts, and gore that there is. It does not bother me. I don't necessarily like, well, demonic possession. I'm out. I don't like it. I don't know if it's because I was raised the way I was by my mom, who was very, very, very Catholic and believed in all that stuff. Or it's because I saw The Exorcist. I think I peeked over. My dad was watching it on HBO back in the day. And I remember peeking over my banister and just watching it. And that could have been it too, because I think I was literally about 8 when I watched it. And I will not watch it again. They redid it with that spider walk scene, and I'm like, nope, I will not watch it. But that could be too, but I don't know. But I've seen them go through like a lot of these walkthroughs, and some of them look terrifying, but like it looks like a lot of fun. I'd love to do something like that too.
I don't blame you. I saw The Exorcist in college, and it still freaked me out. I had a very similar reaction. I was like, I'm good. I don't need to ever revisit that.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like I can literally watch. It's weird. Like, you know, my wife will say to me, like, you could watch any of that. So you'd watch all that bloody stuff and the gore. I said, yeah, it doesn't bother me. Like, I don't know what it is.
I think they tapped into true evil.
It might be. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. But it's like, you know, people are asking me, did you watch this movie? You watch this movie? And like, does it have any demonic stuff in it? They're like, yeah. I'm like, nope. Nope. But how did you? So now we talked a little bit before we started the show. You're a big Marvel fan, so gotta talk about Marvel stuff. So when did you get into Marvel? I mean, I go all the way back to. I mean, I'm a little bit older, so I was reading comics when like mid 70s, probably 75, 76. And I've been reading comics since then. And then I got into DC a little bit later. But yeah, when did you start getting into Marvel? What got you into it?
So I was born in the 80s, and I think like many children of the 90s, it was probably the X-Men cartoon, the original cartoon. Yeah, I think was probably my earliest touch point.
Yep.
And that was always my comic favorite too, was the X-Men. Yep. I remember being just obsessed with how many, it was almost like how kids love dinosaurs. That was me for me. I was trying to remember all the mutants. What are their powers? What are their names? What are their team affiliations? What do they do? And I would sit and draw characters, and I had a dream of, you know, submitting my own mutant to Marvel Comics as a kid. But that never happened, unfortunately. But so it definitely started there, and then just reading comics more and more. Always a Marvel person. DC I like Batman. There's a lot of like Batman, like a lot of the single Batman stories, like Court of Owls and things like that. I really
like. A good one, actually. Yeah, the Court of Owls was a good one. That was the one too where the Joker wasn't that the one the Joker had his face cut off by Professor Pig in it around that time.
I can't remember the body horror of the Joker. It's all very intense.
Yep.
But for the most part, the DC stuff I find a little hard to connect with. I'm more on the ground, even when the Marvel stuff gets a little too cosmic or time travel, it loses me. I like more, you know, grounded type stuff. And then I just was the right age and the right time for the original X-Men, the original Spider-Man, all of that. And it just cemented me further. I feel like I've been feasting on fandom material since childhood, and it really hit that right. So been a Marvel fan, a big MCU enjoyer. I just published my MCU ranking on Letterboxd.
Oh, nice.
And then I think you mentioned this recently, but the Marvel Unlimited app for comics.
Oh, I love it, man.
That got me back into it. I got into that a few years ago, and God, I read everything now. It's so amazing. I've been reading all of the solo series for Psylocke and Storm and X-23, and I just love being able to pick up anything. And sometimes I'll just spend time, it feels like Netflix, where I just browse comics and add a bunch to my library and don't actually read anything. And I'm like, good, saved for later. I have a huge stockpile to return to.
Yeah, it's great, man. You can go back to like I didn't even realize it. Like they go back to like all the way when I was looking up Galactus, and I was able to go like all the way back to his first appearance. Like they have stuff all the way back to the 60s and everything like that. Yeah, I love that app. I was a big proponent of going to comic stores when we had them. A friend of mine owned one, and I'd go all the time. He had a book list that he put away for me and stuff like that, but he obviously got out of it, sold off his collection and stuff like that. And then there was really nothing near me. And so I'm like, man, I got to get something, even though I know people kind of complain. They're like, well, but they don't get new releases right away. You have to wait for them. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm okay waiting like 3 months for a new release. It doesn't bother me.
It's it's not like you're going to get spoiled or something.
No. Yeah. It's. So, but yeah, I absolutely love that app. It's fun for me when I do the show, and I mean, I'm discovering new characters too. Like I did on my pod yesterday, I was talking about Diamondback. I didn't know like what a tragic history she had.
Yeah, I listened to that. That was great to sort of see you discover it in real time.
Yeah, it was like, geez, man, like she was like she was raped, she was this, she was that. I'm like, well, I don't think there's really an explanation for why she turned bad. I had no idea. But yeah, it's fun, man. I love the Marvel app. So you said you did a movie list. I gotta ask you, favorite movie
From the
MCU
MCU?
movie?
So I think my favorite in terms of the one I go back to the most is probably Infinity War, just in terms of it just feels it's like your, the greatest hits album. It's just some of this, I'll go to just a random scene like this, speaking of Sanctum Showdown, the scene where they are in the Sanctum and they go out to fight Ebony Maw and Cull Obsidian. That whole sequence with Spider-Man, I love that.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of Civil War. I like I'm a big fan of friendship, Joe. I like friendship represented in media, and the Bucky, Steve, Tony dynamic there is really compelling to me. And maybe controversially, I'm an Eternals fan. I thought Eternals was beautiful.
Okay.
I thought it had flaws, but I believe in meeting media where it is and judging it on what it does, not what it doesn't. So I was really impressed with a lot of it. It had, some drawbacks, but the Gilgamesh story, I was really moved by. I thought that more problematic men should yeet themselves into the sun when they realized they were wrong.
Adam Starr Snap Lore, who's been in my show a couple times, and he's also in that group that we're in. Huge fan of the Eternals. Huge fan. He was on the show, and we were talking about the Eternals and how he gets upset because so many people say it's horrible and it's like the worst movie in the MCU and all that kind of stuff. And I said, I think that's unfair. I think that yeah, if and I get it. A lot of people probably never read the books. They probably didn't get into it and stuff like that. But I didn't think that was bad at all. I enjoyed the movie when it came out. So, but yeah, that's cool. That's a choice that not a lot of people make. Infinity War is interesting. I'm a big Thanos fan. Always have been since I read Infinity Gauntlet. I've loved that character. I got a little weepy when he first showed up in the post-credit scene. I was like, oh my God, it's Thanos. But yeah, I love that movie. I obviously Endgame 2 was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had going to movies.
Oh, that's the final sequence, the on your left in Endgame.
Oh man,
I left this planet. It was incredible. I was in Williamsburg and the theater. I thought we were going to take the walls down. People were losing their mind. It's the coolest in theater experience I've ever had.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I've never seen anything like that before. And I've been to see a couple of, I think the only ones that could come close for me were probably when I went to see Star Wars with my dad when I was about 7 the first time. And Darth Vader walked on the screen. Then, you had people who were like going out of their minds a little bit. And then the other time was when I went to see Christopher Reeve Superman in the theaters. And he became Superman for the very first time when he had to go up and catch Lois when the helicopter was coming down and he flew up and everybody was like gasping, but it still wasn't like that. Like it still wasn't that reaction. And it's funny, when you go back and watch, I watch those on YouTube every now and then when I need to pick me up because I think they're just fun to watch. And it's like, everybody knew that those characters weren't dead. They knew they were dead, but yet still in that particular moment. And I got to hand it to the Russos and the way that they made that happen, because you're right. That was literally a moment that I don't know if they'll ever be able to duplicate in theaters. So
I almost feel like the fact that they can't, nor should they, is what's led to all of the problems since.
Yeah.
I feel like once you do that, where do you go from there?
Yeah.
Everybody compares it to that. I'm worried about that with Andor, to be honest with you. I loved Andor. But everybody has made it such a high pedestal that I'm like, this isn't fair for the show.
And I've been hearing things. What did they say? That they came out with an episode guide. It's only, I think they said it's only 6 episodes, and then they stopped it. They were going to do at least a 3rd season, which they now cut because of budgets. So like Disney's slashing budgets, and so I just hope. Because like you, I enjoyed it too. I thought it was that and The Mandalorian, of course, season 1, season 2 were probably two of the best things that Star Wars has had. And I just hope that they do it justice and they don't rush through it, because it did say they're going to build right into Rogue One with it. But I just hope that it doesn't get rushed and it feels rushed. And it just, I don't know. I hope not.
I trust the creators. I think it's 9 episodes because they're doing 3 groups of 3.
Oh, is that how they're doing it? Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. 9 episodes.
So I'm excited. Like, Andor is probably the only Star Wars property that I will quote. And Thanos, everyone around me, much I think to their dismay, knows how often I quote Thanos. So that's this thing for me. Do I find a way to work it into day-to-day quotes? Yep. Then it's good.
Then it's I'm excited for that. I know. Yeah, there. What was it, yesterday or the day before? There were people putting out memes of when the Ewok song at the end of Return of the Jedi, because Kathy Kennedy decided to step down.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Did she?
Yeah, she did.
Wow.
Yeah, so everybody's like rejoicing that she's gone.
Is she going to Amazon to hire the new Bond?
I'm not really sure where she's headed, but I would imagine that Filoni will get more stuff to do, and probably they're saying it probably could be split now between Filoni and Favreau, which I'm fine with.
Favreau, what a guy. Who knew when we saw him in Swingers,
right,
that he would end up doing all of this? What a crazy.
It is crazy. You know what I love him in? Did you ever see the movie Chef?
Oh, I love Chef.
Oh my God, one of my favorite movies.
John Leguizamo is one of my favorite actors. In fact, I love the movie Spawn, deep cut for superhero.
Oh yeah,
because of John Leguizamo, and it has
the clown,
right? Yep, the Violator. I just I went back to the comic book store, bringing it all the way back, where I used to go to when I worked in Midtown, and they had a Violator comic, and it made me want to rewatch Spawn.
Remember that?
John Leguizamo.
Yeah, I remember that. I didn't think a lot of people kind of crapped on that. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought that movie was okay. I mean, it could have been better, but it's like, it's a fun watch every now and then. I will say I like the animated series better.
Oh yeah, the animated series is great.
Yeah, the animated series was really good.
I actually should call out Todd McFarlane. He was a big part of me getting into comics. His toys and just the way he drew characters, the size of them, the mass, and anytime there's a pose with a hand pointing out, I always think of him, where he talked about like the planes of the design, and we want to have as many planes as possible on the Z index. That kind of stood out to me as a visual style too. So he was a big influence on me as well. I understand that Spawn is, part of, is it Dark Horse, Image? Which one is it? I forget. One of the indies.
I think they're still Image. I think Spawn always was. Some of the comics went other places, but I think it's still Image.
I kind of like, it would be cool if Spawn was in Marvel Snap, but I understand why it's not.
Yeah, well, we got Angela, right? And Angela's from Spawn. A lot of people didn't know that.
I don't actually know anything about the Angela character outside of Snap. I've always meant to look her up. All I know is she has great abs, and she is used in my Bishop decks.
she originally appeared in Spawn, but she was created by Rob Liefeld, and that was the issue that he did. And so there was a little bit of controversy about that, because I guess Todd, when he did his toys, he had a falling out with Rob. He never paid Rob for doing the comic books that he did. So Rob and him just had an out, and then he went and he made the figure of Angela, and Rob saw that and is like, all right, last straw. No, I'm suing you for this. So you're going to pay me for this figure. And then Rob won, I believe is how it went. He won the lawsuit. He got the property to the character, and then he immediately sold it to Marvel. So it was like a big FU to Todd McFarlane, pretty much.
Crash outs with Liefeld, many such cases, especially lately. He seems to be a quite a dissenting voice on Twitter, at least. Yeah, but that's where I remembered her, because I remember reading, like, I couldn't ever get the first couple issues of Spawn because it was incredibly high priced back then. If you didn't own it, it was like $50-$60 to buy. And I remember like, no. And I ended up getting a graphic novel that I read the first like 5, but then I started collecting I think it was issue 6 was when I first started seeing it in the comic book shop, and I did end up getting the issue where Angela was in. But McFarlane made her look really, really different and very risque.
So
I'm sure.
Marvel kind of changed that, but she always used to have like little pieces of like banding all over her body, and a lot of times the banding was kind of flowing a little bit, so you'd get,
Okay.
it was but yeah, I remember seeing her card, and I'm like, oh damn, the
Kind
Avengers.
of like the Moon Knight style. At least I like
Yes,
talk
yeah,
about Marvel properties. The show again, Moon Knight. Great actors, great character.
yeah.
Wish it was better, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, I did too. That's a funny comic too for me. I was reading that when Stephen Platt was the artist for it. And he drew when McFarlane came out, there were a lot of similar artists who were kind of almost like McFarlane clones. They drew very similar to him. And Stephen Platt was hired to do Moon Knight. And I'm almost positive he was because he drew a lot like Todd. And so when you look at the covers and stuff from back then, this was in the 90s, probably mid to late 90s and stuff like that. But he did his artwork was incredible. And that's when I first started reading Moon Knight. I never really did before then, but now I am. I'm reading it again now. But yeah, I love that character. I thought the series was good.
It can't go without saying that one of the sillier things from Marvel was the original Werewolf by Night. His man, like the man who was the werewolf, was named Jack Russell.
Jack.
Always like to point that out.
I love that show too because Man-Thing's in it. My boy, man, I finally got to see a good version of him on the screen, and it took years. They had a lousy show on Sci-Fi Channel, which was god awful.
I never caught that one.
Oh, it was so bad. It was actually, I think it had the designation of being the first ever rated R thing that was on Sci-Fi.
That's cool.
And right off the bat, like literally right off the bat, first scene, they have a guy and a girl out in the middle of a swamp, and like they have a nude scene with the girl, and I'm like, whoa, okay,
there's your R
didn't
rating.
expect that. But that was awful. And then they had the other one. There was another one that was just as bad, where they didn't even show him. It was just like two red eyes, and you see that
Budget cuts.
Terrible, man.
Yes.
I'm so glad he was finally. I hope I see him again. I was hoping for Marvel Knights, or that maybe he'll be in that. I don't know if they're still doing that. There's been rumors, but
I'd love a Midnight Suns.
Midnight Suns, yeah, that would be great too. You get them all together in there. Yeah,
I'll also go on record that I don't think Ryan Gosling should be Ghost Rider. Love Gosling. He's an old man. Let him rest.
They were talking about so many different people for that role. What was it? Gosling, Keanu Reeves.
Oh my God.
And Norman Reedus. Were the ones they're mentioning. And because I'm thinking, yeah, you're mentioning Norman and Keanu because they both ride bikes.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So I'm like, yeah, it's Norman Reedus is not that bad. He's not too old yet. Yeah, I could definitely see him playing Johnny Blaze. Keanu is going to be too busy he's doing a second Constantine film. He just talked about it on
I'm so excited for that. Constantine is incredible.
Yeah, I love it.
Is it Peter Stormare who plays the devil in that?
Yes.
The way they portray him is just like a greasy guy in a white suit smoking cigarettes. It's one of the best portrayals of a devil I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree. He's right up there with what's the other one? Al Pacino.
Oh, Devil's Advocate?
Devil's Advocate.
I was going to ask you about that when you said you didn't like demonic stuff. I was like, does that?
No, I love that.
Advocate?
Well, you know what? And what's funny about that is I watched that and I watched it on cable. So a lot of the demonic scenes were cut. So you didn't see a lot of that. But then I more recently ended up I watched it on Pluto because I had never seen the uncut version. And I watched it and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's a little bit, a little bit creepy. But I love the psychology behind that movie.
Oh,
that speech
wonderful.
that he makes at the end, God is an absentee landlord. And I'm like, oh my God. Like that, oh yeah. It was so good. But yeah, that's one of my favorite films like that. That's right up there. But yeah, he did a great job playing the devil in that. I thought that was great.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved I don't know the actor's name off the top of my head, but from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. who played Ghost Rider in that was really good.
Yeah, he played the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider, right? Yeah, he did a great job. That's a very underrated show. Really I liked it.
Clark Gregg is incredible. I listened to an interview with him on a pod. Maybe it was Marin once. What an interesting guy. He has a very interesting view of life. He seems very zen.
Yeah. And the actress that played Daisy, I thought she did a great job. The one that played Daisy Johnson in it, then became Quake. Yeah, I enjoyed that series. It got a little weird when they went into space at the end, but I
Everything
like.
does. Everything gets
Yeah,
weird if you let it go long enough, it starts being bad.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I didn't mind it. I'll tell people, go back and watch it. It's fun if you've never seen it before. I mean, that's the stuff we had back then. It was when the MCU was just kind of first starting, and you really didn't have anything. It's kind of like now the Daredevil stuff is coming back, which I'm
I
really.
realized I never finished the Netflix series. I only watched the first season. So
Oh
I've been
man,
watching season 2 with Punisher,
yeah.
and wow, it is
Oh,
alarming how good it is.
yeah, so good. And I read on the podcast some reviews have come out with the non-spoilery ones, but they were saying they said it is so far the consensus is it's the best Marvel series that they've done yet on Disney Plus. So yeah, I'm really excited. That's going to
I'm
be, and they're
excited.
already saying season 2 is already in development. Jessica Jones is coming back for it. She's been
Good. I
working out in
love
the
Jessica
gym.
Jones.
I thought they casted everybody well. I know people bang on the guy that played Iron Fist, but I think a lot of the material with him, they just didn't get the character right.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what it is. But now they're saying they're bringing him back too. And apparently the rumor is he's going to be in Shang-Chi, the next Shang-Chi film.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
yeah. So, but I'm excited for, have you seen Captain America yet?
I did.
What'd you think?
Well, I had a bad theater going experience. I went with my
Okay.
partner, and we go to the same theater all the time, and we're not like loud, but we'll laugh and kind of talk to each other. And the guy next to us actually went and got an usher to like shush us to the point where my partner left because she was so upset.
No,
So I was a little annoyed by the man next to me who couldn't get down with making fun of the movie. But I think that they did a good job piecing together a very long in development story that changed hands a lot. The number of screenwriters, when I saw that, I was like, okay, we're in for a ride.
Yeah.
I really like Anthony Mackie. I really like his
Me
version
too.
of Sam. I wish they'd made it less of a Hulk sequel and more of a Captain America.
It really
movie.
was. It was a sequel to the Incredible Hulk more than it was anything. I said that. Yeah. Yeah.
But I was, it's probably not going to be the top 5, but I think it was kind of, it almost reminds me of, I know when I'm writing, sometimes I just need to like get all the ideas out and then you can move forward and refine them. It kind of felt like that. It was like, let's get a whole bunch of stuff out, and then moving forward, we can be a little more locked in.
Yeah.
Like Thunderbolts, I'm psyched for. Fantastic Four. I've never read a Fantastic Four comic in my life.
Oh my gosh, I'm a big Fantastic Four fan. That's how I got introduced to Agatha. 1976.
Oh, she was their babysitter or something,
She
right?
was, and I got, back then they used to sell these oversized comic books. They were like bigger size, even like double or triple the size of a magazine. They cost $1.
Oh wow!
Back in the day, and my grandparents bought me it, and that was my introduction to the Fantastic Four. And it had a whole bunch of different. They were just reprints. They were just reprints of some of the single comic issues, and that was the one where they took their son over to be babysat by Agatha. And all I can remember thinking was, what was I, 6? It was 6 or 7, and all I could think of was, what are you taking the baby over to this woman for? She's obviously a witch. Like, what do you mean? Like, I mean, there's me thinking that, and that was when I was introduced to Fantastic Four, and I've loved them ever since. And I'm so psyched for that film because, and look, I get it. The ones we got, the first one was okay for its time. Those 90s ones were all we had. So the first one was okay. The second one got a little hokey with Doom and riding the surfboard and all that, was a little weird. The third one was just bad. The third one was just horrible. They tried to make it dark. What I don't understand about those films, though, is could never get Doom right. How could you screw up Dr. Doom?
I don't know.
He's so hard to mess up. Like, first they made him Yuppie Doom. then they made him a Cult Doom where he's able to blow up people's heads. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, he's so easy to do. That's why I have high hopes.
I was going to say, what do you think about Downey?
I've got high hopes for that. I hope he does good with it. I mean, I like him as an actor. I liked him in Iron Man. I just don't know how I'm going to feel about it because I want to see how they're going to approach it. Is he going to be a Doom Tony Stark from another universe?
Will he wear the mask?
Right. Or is he going to be deformed where you can't tell who he is? Like either way, I think I'd prefer it if he was the deformed one where you can't tell what he looks like, as opposed to being an alternative Tony. So I know they did that in the comic. I think there's a What If comic that they did a story along those lines where Tony Stark ended up being Doctor Doom and vice versa. But I don't know. I get it. They might just want the moments, right? Like if Spider-Man sees him and he takes off his mask and it's Tony, I mean, that's going to be a moment because he'll be like shocked to see him there. But I don't know. I'm pretty sure. Did you've read Secret War, right? Did you read the 2015 one?
Yep.
That's what I think they're doing.
Yeah.
I think God, Emperor Doom, that whole thing. I think I mean, it's cool if they do it that way, the way that was in the books. I mean, I know they won't do it, shot for shot, but can you imagine if he was married to Scarlet Witch?
Oh my God.
And he had Doctor Strange as like his right-hand man and the thing, like it was, I'm like, oh man, dude.
I hope Scarlet Witch comes back. I really like Lizzie Olsen in that, and I think
she's great. The
character is amazing.
Yeah, she's great in that role. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I'm sure she will. She's very coy. Whenever they interview her, they're like, are you coming back? I don't know. But she always like kind of pauses before and she's like, but I will say, I did get a phone call. And they're like, okay, you got a phone call. But yeah, that's the one thing, man, about all of these MCU films. They did a fantastic job in casting.
That's how I feel about Fantastic Four. Even though I'm not as familiar, I love every one of those actors.
Yep.
And am so excited to see them in the world. Pedro Pascal, although I thought he was asleep during Gladiator 2, I've never seen him in anything that I didn't love. And I don't think that was his fault in that movie.
Last of Us, he was fantastic.
Oh my God, so good.
Yeah. He's gonna do really well. I'm comforted by seeing what The Thing looked like, because that can get dicey. But the fact that they had him moving his mouth, puts his finger in and tastes the sauce, I'm like, okay.
They really captured Evan Moss Bacharach's mannerisms, his vibe. I was impressed with that. I think that's really hard to do, especially in the older movies, between the weird rubber suit and the all CG where he was strangely naked the whole time.
Yeah.
It's hard to act under that much rock.
Agreed. Yeah. They even got his accent right. I mean, people don't realize like that somebody mentioned it to me after they saw the trailer. They're like, what's with his I said, if you ever read the comics, he's Jewish. And he's from New York, so he has an accent. And that was for more reasons than one. And I finally get to see a real Galactus instead of a cloud. That's going to be awesome. And even him, the guy they got to do his voice.
Oh, Innocent.
Oh,
I just watched the Witch for the first time.
Yep,
and he was great.
Yeah, he's going to absolutely kill that. I don't know how long he's going to be in it, but I mean, at least I'm going to see it. So yeah, I'm July is going to be an amazing month between Superman and that. I'm like, yep, I'll be in the theaters like probably twice for each one. For each.
I hope so. I love that feeling. I miss that feeling of just everybody having fun in the theater.
Yep.
Just I love that shared joy.
Yeah.
So I hope they're all good. I have no. It's good. I don't like the DC versus Marvel.
I don't. The tribalism stuff. Yeah, I don't.
So silly. Like we all benefit when all of these movies are good.
Yeah, listen. Competition breeds better films from both of them. If somebody is gonna, and I was even surprised when I had heard that Fantastic Four was out like a week after Superman. I'm like, damn. I'm almost surprised they didn't move that away because you would think like, okay, this is their big tentpole. Let's move, but nope, they're just going right up against it. So, yeah, I'm happy with James Gunn being in charge of that. I think he's going to do a really good job. I've liked stuff he's done. I love Creature Commandos when that came out. I love Peacemaker.
Love Peacemaker.
Oh man, I think he's going to do really well there, and that's going to be Marvel's loss, Disney's loss rather, too, because they're the ones who fired him. But I think that's going to do really well. And I think, going forward into this whole Secret War thing, I think we're going to have Marvel come out of that in a better way, because it's going to be a reboot. Once they finish that, you're going to get X-Men brought back in and all that kind of stuff. And it's going to be a reboot. So,
yeah, I have one, and I don't think this will happen, but this is if I'm up on a soapbox, I would love for when the X-Men come in, whether it's a side story, a TV show, a main one. I want to see a young class, and I would love if until Hugh Jackman finally decides to stop doing one-offs, let Daphne Keane as X-23 be the canonical Wolverine. I think that would be amazing. She's great at the role. She was amazing in The Acolyte as an action performer. I think she could do it. She seems to enjoy doing it. I liked her in Deadpool and Wolverine. That's my like fingers crossed hope.
I would enjoy that. There are rumors that they're saying that they're casting younger actresses. That what was it? Sadie Sink from Stranger Things as Jean Grey. Was one that they mentioned. I mean,
I've been posting on Twitter all my fan casting. It's basically just the cast of Yellow Jackets. Like I'd love to see Sophie Thatcher as Rogue. I want to see, all these different actresses. But I'm really excited, and I hope they go really as much as they did for Fantastic Four or the original Avengers. I hope they nail the casting of these characters.
That's one thing I have confidence in them. Like, I don't know. Did you ever watch? It's on Disney Plus. I want to say it's probably about an hour and a half or so, but it was all about the woman who is in charge of casting all the roles for the films. And she talks about like how some of them came into audition. Like, for instance, what's his face? The guy who played Star-Lord. Chris Pratt. How he came into audition for Iron Man. And then she had mentioned how, they kind of told him, well, no, you weren't fit. You weren't right for that part, but stay on your phone because I've got something for you. And then she got him into Star-Lord, but they have just knocked it out of the park with casting. They really, really have.
I know I've heard some of those stories of, like John Krasinski auditioning for Thor, and then he sees Chris Hemsworth walk by, and it's like, what's her name? Sarah Finn something. I think her name is the casting director.
The one I was talking about.
Sarah Haley Finn.
I think it was Sarah. Yeah.
So I hope that works. I think a lot of people have a lot of opinions. They love Old Man Logan, as do I, but I'd love to see a young class of X-Men come in, and I hope they switch it up and let some different X-Men step in. I loved X-Men 97 for that, where you got to focus on some different characters.
Yeah. I mean, we saw some. We saw some people that we have never seen in a lot of those in a lot of the cartoons and stuff like that. So that X-Men 97 was fantastic.
Love that.
Can't believe they adapted it. When I saw them doing the thing that in the finale, I'm like, he's not gonna rip the adamantium out of his body, and then I see him do it. I'm like, oh my god, yeah.
That was Endgame level, but on my couch, I was freaking out when I saw that. I remember having that comic as a kid and being so just staring at that panel and being like, oh my god, this is crazy.
Yeah, that was when the comics were all foil covers, and they made all different versions of them, and that's what led to the bankruptcy of Marvel eventually. But yeah, dude, 97 was so good. I'm loving the animation. Did you watch Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man?
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Did too. I thought it was amazing.
Really, really impressed.
Me too. I love again the cast. Coleman Domingo's Norman Osborn was fantastic.
It also, to me, it was one of those things where you watch it and you're like, they made it look easy. It's like, why isn't everything at least this good?
Yep.
They didn't do anything crazy. It was a pretty straightforward spider. I really liked the sort of way they brought Strange in the end. I'm trying to be somewhat spoiler free.
Yep.
That was cool. But I was like, the relationship between Strange and Peter, the origin story. I loved the switching to Nico. Although I listened to last week. I'll call it out. I don't think they're setting her up as a romance. I think she's pretty queer, and I think they're actually going to pit.
You could be, you might be right.
I think they're both going to go for Pearl, and that's going to be something that splits them up. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, well, that would put him at odds with Tombstone, which would set that whole thing up anyway. Yeah, that's good. It's a good shout.
I was really happy to see the Tombstone origin. When it started, I was like, oh, this is going to be cliche. Like the promising athlete gets roped into a gang. I was like, is this going to be like a weird, bad portrayal? But I really liked it. They made it really personal. They made it really empathetic. And you saw kind of something awaken in him.
I was just glad to see Nico in kind of what usually would almost always be the MJ role. And it was good to see somebody different, playing that kind of his best friend character.
For sure.
And I thought that was absolutely fantastic. They already said they renewed it for 2 more seasons. And then I think the next one, well, next year is X-Men 97.
Yep.
And then I think so either end of next year or 2027 is when we're going to get the next episode or the next series of Spider-Man. So
I haven't watched anything beyond the first season of What If. I didn't love What If, but everything else animated wise, I'm loving. I think they're doing a great job with it.
Yeah, I do too. And now we still got what? We have Marvel Zombies coming. We have the Black Panther series coming.
Oh, that's right.
And I think that's it for animation for the year. But yeah, the animated stuff is really knocking it out.
I would love to see them do some really cool animated stuff. Like I watched Legion, the Noah Hawley show that was on FX.
I've never seen that.
It's very different. It's more of an FX show than a Marvel show, but it was incredibly well done. Also, really great Aubrey Plaza. If you're an Aubrey Plaza fan,
I love Aubrey Plaza.
I won't say who she plays, but she's very good in it. But I would love to see somebody like Noah Hawley take over an animated show and really lean into some weird animation. Talking about the Spawn animated series, and I remember some really strange growing up. Liquid Television, late night MTV. There was stuff like the Max.
I love the
Eon Flux.
Oh my god, that was one of my favorite. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna bring in a prop.
Oh please. Oh my god.
I am such a big fan of the Max. I have the whole entire comic book run. Oh my god, I don't know what drew me to that book, but I loved it. Yeah, and that Liquid TV stuff, Aeon Flux was amazing.
I have all of Aeon Flux on DVD. It's one of my favorite things to have on in the background on the TV unmuted during a party because it's just weird, cool visuals, and people are like, "What is this?" I remember staying up late to watch the Max, and I'm sure there's a German word for this, but I was too young to get it. But I was like, I can tell this is good. I just can't tell why. Like I can recognize this as something interesting and something good, but I'm not sophisticated enough yet to really appreciate it.
Sam Keith, man, where that came from, like how, and you're right. It was so hard to figure out, like, what was he? But then when the book comes to an end, you find out he was just like a bum that was on the streets, basically, that would wear a lampshade.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, like he recently did. I don't know if you saw it or read it. He did a Max and Batman book.
Really? No, I didn't see that.
Oh my god, it's insane the way he draws Batman.
Oh my god, I can't imagine.
Oh, it's bonkers, and it involves Arkham Asylum.
Oh,
so the two. Oh, very very good. But that when I saw him working on something else, because he really hasn't done anything with the Max since the original comic series ended. And but oh my god, I used to love that Liquid Television stuff. I think I have the Max series on DVD.
I was actually just thinking that I want to see if it's streaming anywhere. I guess it would be on Max.
No, it's on Max.
Okay.
Yeah,
because that'd be Viacom. It's so crazy how you have to like remember what parent company owns what license to know where it's streaming now.
Yep. Yeah, I love that. I love that show. And they were so, and again, it was so good. They took the comic book panels and basically just put them, animated all of it. And then they just, they got great actors to do the voiceovers and stuff for them.
I'll have to revisit that. Absolutely.
Oh, it was so good. So good. Yeah. That was some obscure comics that like Image had, other than Spawn, obviously, but I was a big reader of the Max. I also ended up reading a book called Pitt, because Pitt was in an episode or in a comic book with the Max. Pitt was just like kind of like the Hulk, like Gray Hulk. I think you could compare him to. But yeah, I read some really, really obscure Image stuff. But yeah, the Max was so good. Nice. But yeah, the animated stuff is so good, man. I'm really, really loving it. I think Marvel's going to have a great year. I think this year, I really do. I know people were down on Cap, but I think people really have to remember too, that movie was supposed to come out before the whole writer strike thing happened.
Oh yeah.
So that really got delayed, put off, reshoots and stuff like that. And so, they just didn't want to scrap it. Mm-hmm. But Thunderbolts. I think Thunderbolts is going to surprise a lot of people. I think that's really going to be good.
Thunderbolts.
Yeah, me too. Sentry. I can't wait to see Sentry.
I love Steven Yeun, but I think Pullman is going to be better. I think he's weirder. I think he's going to work better.
Yeah, I agree. I think so too. Sometimes casting like that happens like in weird ways, but it ends up being better for it. You saw the latest trailer, right?
Unless it was in like the last 2 days. Yeah.
No, the newest one. Where how about how they're using the void powers, where he's just like hitting people and turning them into like shadows and stuff?
It's crazy. Man. It was such a cool visual. Even the way, just the negative space over the city.
Yep.
really psyched for that. The sequence they show on the road with Bucky.
Yep.
Fighting the cars. I'm a huge fan of David Harbour and Red Guardian. I think he's amazing.
Oh, he's so good.
I even watched his Hellboy movie, which I also think is underrated. That got a lot of
I
hate.
haven't seen that. I should watch that. Yeah,
I liked it. It was fine. I like Hellboy. It's weird. I thought it was good. I like strange sort of Austrian, Norwegian folklore horror. So it felt into that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that. I haven't watched the new one either. They did another one more recently, and I haven't watched that one either. So I should probably go back and watch them. I enjoyed the first two. Perlman, I thought, did a really good job.
Oh yeah, Perlman's great. Those are very fun.
Yeah. Well, we almost went an hour and had not spoken one iota yet about Snap. So I guess we should get into it.
Let's do it.
But yeah, so now you told me you started Snap around Black Panther season. What's your favorite thing about the game? I always try to keep things positive, because I know so many people try to bring up the negatives and, oh, this stinks and this stinks and this stinks. And we'll address that in a little bit. But what keeps you playing the game? What's something that you really, really enjoy about it that keeps you coming back?
I think it's the variety, where it never feels monotonous, like you're just slogging along. It can. I stopped playing Destroy because it bores me to tears, but that's because I did it for a long time. And the reason that I can stop playing it is because there's a million other things. Yeah. And I think that the way the meta is constantly shifting and changing, and when I played long enough now, there's cycles. So I think we'll get into this when we talk about the new cards. But there's decks that I remember playing a ton, like a Sauron Zero deck that I would climb with a lot when I was lower in collection. And I haven't touched that in probably a year.
That came back into style lately. Yeah,
with Firebrand especially, it's going to come back. So the way that they cycle through, I think it's the balance. And again, it just makes me feel like a kid again, looking at the cards. I'll just go through and split cards and add different effects. Character mastery has its faults. We can talk about that. But I love all the foils. Like you said, it feels like being in the comic book store again. So just getting to nerd out with the characters and look at the art and see what there is and how a whole new art style can come in, like the magazine style variants that came in this week. I was like, how cool is that?
The Snap magazines, like the fashion magazines. So
that's what it is. It always feels fresh.
Yep. Yeah. And that's one of the things that really got me into it too, because I'm the same way. It doesn't. And you were saying you were collecting Marvel cards back in the day. I was buying those a little bit too, I think back in the 90s. And you'd get the foil cards in the packs and stuff sometimes. Yeah. I forget what they were called, but I remember collecting them.
I've been trying to find them too, to look them up on eBay and maybe see if somebody has a collection, but I haven't done so yet. Yeah.
Marvel. Oh, I can't remember now, because my buddy sold them in the comic store, and I can't even remember now. I remember the packs and what they looked like. But I can't remember what they were called. But it's very similar for me. It does. It brings me back. Like if I'll see a character that maybe I haven't read about in forever, or even someone that I never read about, like Diamondback, like we were talking about a little bit earlier. I don't, I'm not going to know them all. I mean, there's some that date back, and a lot of the ones more recently have dated back to the Stan Lee days, and back into the 60s and stuff like that. And, I'm not going to know them all. But I do remember a lot of them from my my comic book reading and stuff when I was a kid. So yeah, that's something that definitely attracted me to the game too. All right, so we'll get into let's go into some of your likes, some of your dislikes a little bit with the game. Like, what do you think they're doing? And we could incorporate character mastery in this a little bit too. Well, you know what? Yeah, let's just do topics. So character mastery came out more recently. Everybody knows what it is by now, but a lot of people after it was done were like, yeah, this isn't too great. I was going through it, and I even remember like the first day that we had it, and I was trying it out and stuff like that and looking at everything. I'm like, kind of really not what I expected it to be. I was kind of thinking that when you mastered out a character, I knew I was going to master out Galactus for as much as I played the card. And I thought that maybe each one would have their own specific type of thing. Like the card would have their own specific type of background border, like, for that particular card. Now I get it. It's hard to do. I get that. It's hard to do for each individual card, but I had certain expectations. After it initially went through, I was a little bit let down by it, but what are your thoughts on character mastery so far?
I think it's a cool feature that they misrepresented in launching. And I think that everything you just said, I had the same expectations. Even when they showed it, they showed a Hitmonkey variant with the bananas.
The bananas.
And call me crazy. I was like, oh, bananas, Hitmonkey. That must be specific for that card.
Yeah.
I did not expect it to be
everywhere.
So universal. And I was really impressed by that. I was like, I can't even imagine the work that would go into creating custom effects for, 400 plus cards.
Right.
And so I think it was a mistake in how it launched. I think that they didn't manage expectations well, which is something I think Second Dinner often struggles with. Is I think because they have a product that so many people love, listen, our imaginations are going to be better 100% of the time than anything that's real.
Yeah.
So, and they don't want to squash that, but I do think that they will often let the fan base get a little too far into what it could be, and then when you actually get what it is and have to come back down to earth, it can feel disappointing. And I've worked on not games but apps and products and things like that, and I know how hard it is to make these things, and sometimes I'll see the way people are talking about something and I want to say, like, get your hopes down. I really don't think it's going to be that. Or somebody will say, how hard would it be to XYZ? And I'm like, that's very hard to do XYZ. So I think it's really expectation management. When I look at character mastery for what it is, which is not character mastery, it's, variant collection. Even if they named it something else, I use it a lot. I like it. I love going through, like, the first week, everything was spirals and bananas. And now I'm doing refraction on everything. And now I'm looking for, trying to get Wakanda effects on everything. That stuff's great. And sometimes if I don't have the bandwidth to actually play a game, I'll just go fiddle around with variants for a while, and that's really fun. But it would have been cool to show off your true mastery of a card, like you said with Galactus, like, win 100 times with the Galactus and you get a special little badge. Like, that would be really cool. I wish they did a little bit more of that. I know people talk a lot about, like, first edition badges, like, oh, I got this from the first time around. I wish there was some more of that.
I agree.
But generally, I think most things are good. I'm liking the game modes. I was a big defender of Deadpool's Diner. I think that was fun. It showed me that people should not go to casinos because they don't understand expensive.
It's very true. Yeah, I mean, that's I go back to the first one, and I'm like, I was watching It's Guest Gaming stream that day, and so he had been talking about how he did a video for it, and I saw the video. It's the first thing I watched. When it was put up. Now I do think they should have put it up earlier, and he was kind of saying that too, because then everybody could have been able to see it. But I kind of went into it knowing what it was. The only thing was he was playing through, and he got up that ladder so quick with almost all bots, and I'm like, oh my god, this is going to be so easy. Then I go on, I was going to get any bots at all. I was losing all the time, and I was like, But they made it. I think a lot of the first one was the fact that everybody wanted the card so badly because it was touted as the solution to Arshem. So everybody thought, I got to get this card because I'm sick of losing to Arshem and I want this card. And I think that's really what caused that. I didn't think it was horrible, but you're right. I think that they really made it like you're right. I mean, the best comparison would be is going to a casino and gambling.
I really think the first run of Deadpool's Diner made me a better Snap player because it taught me Snap mechanics a lot more. I think I played very casually for the longest time when I started. I didn't really start sweating to infinite until I created the Twitter account and posting to it. It was kind of that motivation to do better. But I learned about, here's when you snap. Here's how snapping can put pressure on the opponent, and you can almost bluff snap. Again, to the poker metaphor, I'm not a gambler, but I know that those types of things weigh in. Like, can you bluff? Can you make them think you have something else when you snap? All of that. And I really do think it made me better. And I think overall, my maybe this is just from being on Twitter, a lot of the complaints, I think, boil down to, if you really strip it down, people just want everything. They are sort of the type that sees a display case and they won't be happy until they have everything in it. Where if you're the kind of person who, there's a million things in the candy aisle, but you get your favorite candy bar, that's happy. You don't need every single candy bar, and you're never going to have everything in the game. So that's most of the complaining that I see is people, anytime something new is introduced, they're like, well, why can't I just have it?
I think so too. I agree. And look, you're not going to last that way. There's no game that's out there that lasted a long time where they just give everything away.
Yep.
It's just not going to happen. And I talk about this. Look, I was a big World of Warcraft player. I played it for a long, long time, and they even introduced cosmetics and stuff in that too. I never bought them because I never had a lot of the gold that you needed for them. I wasn't going to buy them with money because I didn't think they were worth it.
Right.
And that's just how it goes. That's how these companies make their money, is on people that are going to shell out for those cosmetics. And it just is what it is. Fortunately, you don't need variants to play this game. You don't need, fancy borders. You don't need any of that stuff. It's all on a digital card. Exactly. So yeah, I agree. I think that a lot of the complaints come, you're right. I think because they want something and it's so funny. I laugh at it now. And we talk about this on our wrestling show sometimes too. It's almost like a generation. I call it the Veruca Salt generation. I want it all and I want it now.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. But yeah, I agree with you.
I think the part that gets missed is not being able to have something, or something being hard to achieve or more rare makes it special.
Yeah.
I think that I know there is, I think I'm collection complete at the moment, other than the new event cards. I don't have
from
yet. But I didn't have some cards for the longest time. And I would see them played against me. I'd be like, oh man, that card's so cool. Oh, look at that effect. Anti-Venom was like that. I skipped it when it came out because I was like, why would you want a 0/0 card? That doesn't make sense to me.
I was thinking the same thing too until I saw someone play with Luke Cage. I'm like, oh.
I was like, oh my God. And I think FOMO is an important part of the human experience of appreciation. Like, Christmas is only magical because it comes once a year. If you had Christmas every day, it wouldn't be Christmas. So I think that, and learning how to enjoy anticipation and enjoy scarcity in general in life, I think, will make you much happier if you can achieve that.
Yep. I agree. Yeah. Look, I mean, character mastery, and they did say that, they're gonna do other things with it little by little. They're gonna work on it more. We'll see. I guess you could say the positive to it is we weren't going to get it at all.
Yeah.
They had scrapped it. They were like, nope, we're not doing this. It wasn't on that development roadmap, and everybody got upset because it was gone. Well, at least it came out. Yeah. So who knows? And they can always change it around. They can add stuff to it. They can put in new stuff. But yeah, it's a work in progress. And yeah, I agree. I'm sure they will as well. Well, we have a new game mode that just came out. I'll tell you, I so far am really enjoying the Sanctum. I think it might be their best one that they've done yet. As far as, and I'm not going to say it's gaming necessarily, gaming wise, it's very different. But the reason I say that is the rewards in it, I think are so like, I mean, I only played bits and pieces through yesterday, and I already got all 3 of the new cards. And I didn't have to really do much to do it. So when I look at it that way, and then the other rewards and stuff that are in there, it does seem pretty likely that if you play this for the amount of time that they're giving, you are going to very easily walk away with those 3 new cards. You're also probably going to get some Series 4 and 5 cards as well. You may not get them all, but I think they made it very, very easy to achieve. So
I agree. I think that it feels like the most new and novel game mode. I really enjoyed playing, but it really made you sort of stop and reevaluate little things like how priority is different, or how point to point, the way you're focusing on locations, even the play style of I've changed today from how I was yesterday. Yesterday, I was really sweating to win every single point. And now I'm like, no, I'll let the first couple go. I'm setting up for the end game. I think they balanced the rewards pretty perfectly. Like you said, I don't have Lafayette yet because I went for the Wong variant because I was obsessed with
I had
that
to
Wong
get that
variant.
too. It's sick looking.
It's so good. I got the glyph border on it. It's incredible.
Oh, it looks so good split too, with him having the circle like out in front of him.
Oh my God.
That's
I don't even play a lot of Wong, but it makes me
I don't either. Yeah, I was the same way. I'm like, I looked at the 3 cards and I'm like, all right, which one do I want? And I looked at the Doctor Strange, like, I never play Move.
I just started playing Move.
Did you?
I feel like the video of the deer taking its first steps with Move. I don't think I'm good at it yet, but it is terrible at it. I played a lot of Scream, so I was like, I should try moving my own cards, not people's cards. But yeah, I like I like the game mode. I like that it rewards different play style. I was never a Guardians player, and now suddenly I'm like, oh my god, look, Drax, Star-Lord, they're here.
Yep.
I like that you can try things out like the crazy Guardians with Werewolf that we've been seeing.
Oh,
just
yeah.
weird combos.
Yeah,
That's another cool thing in the mode. When High Voltage came out, that's when I started playing Havoc, because I was like, why would you ever play Havoc? But these new game modes let you pull cards out like Leader and Havoc that normally wouldn't work. Suddenly they're all-stars in the new game mode. And the biggest thing that's so funny that impacted me that I didn't expect was the new game board. It feels like a new game because they changed the asteroid, and that made such a huge impact. I was like, this is more fun to just be in this mode.
Give me game boards that I can pay gold for, and I'll buy them all. I don't even care. Like, I'll waste money to get rid of that asteroid on the screen. I'm so tired of it. And they previewed one. They showed the jungle one with the dinosaurs and everything on in the corner.
The Savage Land,
Savage Land, They're definitely. It's got to be something that's coming soon. That and more decks. Oh my god, give us deck space.
Deck slots. Oh my god, I have a note in my phone with like 350 decks, because now whenever I make a deck, I just copy and paste it into the notes app, because then I can delete them and move them around. I don't have to care. But god, even if it's 50 from 20, just like.
I would give them gold for it. I mean, that's something I would literally pay gold for. Like, give me more deck spaces, man. That's like, I mean, I'm always having to delete stuff, and I hate doing that. But yeah, for sure.
So my only complaint is it feels I got two cards in a variant already, so I really can't complain. But it does feel like you have to grind it out to earn everything beyond the like climbing the sorcerer ladder, like point to point, when you're getting 16 to 20 points a game and things cost 1,000, you're like, whew, this is really saving pennies.
Thank God for those Twitch drops yesterday.
Oh my god,
because holy, like they got me 2 levels alone. And if it wasn't for that, because now I'm on the last level, and oh my god, is it a grind. I was playing all day today. I think I made it to 300 out of what is it, 10,000 to max that out. I'm gonna be like, it's gonna take me that next how many ever days it is just to probably get that.
Exactly. I would put Twitch drops on the TV on mute while I was just around the house. I caught my cat watching them at one point. I was like, she's paying much more attention than I am. And I've actually enjoyed Twitch drops when they happen sort of seasonally. I am not a Twitch watcher. I never have been. But I've found some good players. I've enjoyed watching them. Normally it's in the background, but I definitely remember the first time I watched a Snap video. It was a Cozy video, and it was about Hitmonkey. And he played a deck. And I was like, oh, this is fun. Because I was never again, not a gamer. So I never really appreciated the watching other people play video games. But I was like, oh, he's doing stuff I never thought of before. I could actually learn how to do this better. So I like that they engage with the Twitch community. I like how they engage with the creators, and that's been a great thing to get more rewards in this mode. I agree. And I think the first creator I ever watched was Regis, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's the first person I ever saw. Regis is probably my favorite over time. Man. He it took me a while to figure out his humor, like when he would say, "I'm the smartest man in the world," he's kidding. Like things like that. But now that I am on board with it, I'm like, this guy is legitimately funny.
He was so great to talk to. I was shocked I had him on.
That was really cool. You had him on. I was really impressed.
Oh my god, that was so much fun to talk to him. And he's when I first mentioned to him at the beginning, I'm starting to talk about DC stuff, and he goes, "We can talk about DC on here," and I'm like, okay.
I'm sure he doesn't get a chance to.
Oh my gosh, he was great. He was just so down to earth and stuff like that, and like the before and after that we actually recorded was it was awesome talking.
That's
to
cool.
him. And it's awesome. I've met some amazing people on here so far. It's one of the reasons why I enjoy doing it.
It's great to find more. I'm sort of newer to the Snap podcast community, but it's been great to find yours. It's been great to see some other ones out there. I watch Cozy and Alex on the Snapchat every week on YouTube, but adding the audio podcast to the mix has been fun. Shout out to the Regis game start deck. I know it's a meme deck, but it actually works.
That one with the I think I played that one too. That everything happens at the beginning. I loved that. That was so much fun to play.
That was so cool.
Oh my gosh, he makes decks that are just really, really fun. Like some of them, and he'll say flat out, he's like, "Don't play this because it's not going to win you ladder stuff. If you're going to play it, mess around with it in Conquest or something because it's just a meme deck." But that one was so much fun Was that the one with Agatha?
It had Agatha,
Yeah.
Arishem, High Evolutionary, Quicksilver,
It's like a 26 card deck. I
Uatu,
think.
and it just like every animation played in the beginning. You could like set your phone down and go get a drink and come
Yep.
back and be able to play turn one.
Yeah, that was so much fun. Yeah, he just comes out with really fun stuff.
I love that kind of creativity too. Like
Yeah.
I used to play Magic the Gathering way back in the day, and
Me
you'd go to a
too.
tournament and somebody's like, "Oh, I have a deck that none of the cards have the letter E," and you're like, "Okay, like that's weird.
That's different." Yeah, that's different. My buddy who owned the comic book store got us all into Magic, and we got in at around Unlimited. So when the Unlimited set came out, so it's Alpha Beta, then it came out with Unlimited, and we had to be early 90s, probably 92, 93.
I was late 90s. I actually had a teacher in high school who was into it and would invite us to the local shop to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, for that, I more enjoyed the cards than the playing. I've never been a particularly competitive person, so I was just like, these cards are beautiful.
Oh my God, the artwork is the artwork's amazing. Even the older ones and stuff like that, going back to it, I can kick myself because oh my God, were my cards worth a lot of money now. Oh my God. Like I literally had a Beta Black Lotus, the rarest card in the game. And it was in mint condition, and a buddy of mine came up to me. He sold his cards a while back. He did good for himself. He I think got a down payment on his house. I sold mine for not nearly as much, and he came up to me and he said, "Joe, did you happen to look to see how much our cars are worth?" I'm like, "Do I want to?" And he's like, "Yeah, probably not." But of course, curiosity got the better of me. I went and I looked, and that card that I had was selling for $250,000.
That's ridiculous.
And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I would have been like, I could have been a millionaire. I'm like, but who thinks about this stuff? It's like, when you have them, it's like, yeah, I'm not playing anymore. The tournament's kind of, Pokemon killed Magic for us.
Yeah.
Because, the kids started to come into the store. They wanted to play Pokemon. The owner of the store had to kind of, he had to go with what was popular. And who can blame him? I mean, he's trying to run a business. But that kind of killed that for us. But yeah, I was big into it for a little while, and probably 5-6 years in the 90s until we stopped playing. But yeah, a lot of people come from there, either Magic or from Hearthstone.
Hearthstone I never even knew about until Snap, and I learned about it from people like Regis and knowing like Glenn, I think came from Hearthstone, and I was like, oh, what is that? I still haven't really checked it out, but I should look into it.
It was a Warcraft. It's a Blizzard thing. So I learned about it because it used to come on when I pull up World of Warcraft. It was one of the games that would show up on the screen. I'm like, I'll give this a shot. I played it for a little while. I was never really that good at it. But yeah, it was fun to play. But yeah, so Sanctum is it has been pretty. I think it's and from the reactions I'm hearing from creators and from other people and stuff like that, most of them I think kind of feel that it's a positive thing. I haven't heard a lot of negativity about it, which is good because a lot of it garners a lot of negativity. So I think they did a good job with it. I don't know. Someone was saying they should do this all the time. I don't think they'll do that. I think that I think it would get boring.
Christmas is special because it's once a year. You gotta have rarity. Yeah, I saw people complaining about the scrolls thing where you had to restart if you didn't have any scrolls. Scrolls.
I think there, yeah.
And a lot of pre-grousing where people are like, "Oh, only one scroll every 8 hours. That's awful." But I haven't ever dropped below. I think 8 was the fewest I've had.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to say skill issue, but it's sort of built that I like that if you keep winning, it doesn't keep costing.
Right. Yeah. Because you just you get it back if you win.
Exactly.
I believe. Yeah.
I'm beating the drum of don't retreat because there's no need.
I don't understand why people do it. You're
Habit? I don't know.
Yeah. You're not. It's not costing you anything.
No.
In fact, you're losing points because you do. So it's kind of silly to do that. And Zombies on his stream was saying the same. He was saying like, you may as well just stick it out because he goes, and it's almost like when people were helping each other in Deadpool's Diner, where you're just giving them their extra points, before you leave.
That was really fun. I enjoyed that. In the second Deadpool's Diner, I did pretty well in the gambling, and I hit the end pretty quickly, and it was fun. Just every couple days to go in and give out some bubs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
felt good.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to help people out sometimes. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's been pretty good so far. I think it's been a success, and we'll see how it goes. Or we'll see the thoughts on it from people as it goes by. But I do think that I think the stuff was a lot easier to achieve than what a lot of people might have thought it was.
Also, really good rewards. Like the variants are cool, the borders are cool, the emotes are cool. It's amazing that you can get unowned season 4, series 4 and 5 cards.
Yeah,
that I did not expect. I feel like that's the other thing. When people complain a lot, I feel like they don't also give enough credit when something goes well. Like they just like to complain. I didn't see enough people being excited about the ability to get unowned cards.
Yep. I mean, and even I'm kind of hoping somewhere down because someone had mentioned there are no animations with any of the new cards, but I'm hoping that they might write those in at some point because they could.
Oh yeah,
they could add those in. I had Kier Nimbus was on my show a couple weeks ago, and he mentioned, he goes, "Man, do we need an animation for Uncle Ben?" And I said, "Well, what would you do?" And he goes, "Could you imagine if you show the burglar like shooting Uncle Ben?" And I'm like, "We're not getting that. They are not
Silver Sable, but it just shoots Uncle Ben."
Right? I said they are not going to do that. I said it would be great if they did, and then all of a sudden you see Spider. But I said no, that's not going to happen. But
they go through and they update that because when the abysmal what was it, the Hulk that Bruce Banner, when Bruce Banner came out, it was the original Hulk card, and then they updated it to a new token. I noticed that Ben just does default Spider-Man. I could see them updating that to a new Spider-Man token. They update those things a lot.
Yeah, they might do that. Yeah, I remember seeing that Hulk was data mined, and I'm like, why is there another Hulk getting data mined from that? But yeah, that was for the Bruce Banner card. Yeah, that was kind of cool.
I love the animations.
I do too.
The most recent animation. For some reason, I think they just tweaked Malekith. It's a little more of a swish when he brings the card out.
Yeah, I noticed that. And it's also like where the card is, you could see it better now. It's like glowing like red. It's like red and black glowing now in the spot. So
I really like that.
I just learned that fills a lane for you if you have that one where you get the free card if it fills a lane. I didn't know if that would do that because technically it's not in play, but it counts as a card. So if you put you put him in, you have 2 cards down, put him in, and that fills the lane, you get that bonus. You get that free card from that if you're using that. So, but yeah, no, the animations are awesome. I killed my first Uncle Ben, by the way, with a Killmonger.
Oh, nice.
It was kind of fun.
Lives. I've not killed him yet.
It was kind of fun. I was like, someone had it in a Scream deck. Which I'm like, okay, I could, you play Killmonger inside the Scream deck. You can kill off a lot of the 1 cards and stuff that they're playing. Maybe they have Kingpin or somebody's playing it against you.
I love putting Killmonger in weird decks you don't expect.
Yeah. So, and I guess you can also play it in Surfer if you really wanted to. I don't know what you take out of that though, because it's kind of a static list. But you can even put it in Surfer. The cool thing is a Spider-Man would come in and would take a card away from that lane.
I saw an amazing play where they killed Uncle Ben to move out of the way and then drop Galactus.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to remember that one. Yeah,
Galactus lover, you gotta try that.
I will definitely have to try that. Yes, I try all things Galactus. So if that works, yes, I will be. I will say that's a good one. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. So you can put Uncle Ben in the lane that you want to play Galactus in.
Yep.
Killmonger it, and then play. Yeah, all right. Yeah, now I'm gonna have to try that now.
And you're moving something else away. So
yeah, you are. You're bringing something else out of there. So yeah, no, that's a great shout. And it's funny because you used to always play back in the day. You play Spider-Man and Galactus all the time with that obnoxious
original Spider-Man that was terrible.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't find out about that until Galactus was my first big bad pull. I pulled him out of a cache, and I tell people I remember seeing that card and thinking to myself, why would I do this? I don't want to blow up the other things. It's stupid. And then someone played it against me, and I'm like, oh, that's why you want to do this.
Yep. I remember again with the Black Panther as my first season, I hadn't really figured out the power of on reveal. And I remember being like, on reveal, double the power. Why don't they just make him 10 to begin with? Like it didn't click for me. And then I was like, oh, I understand. You can redo these things. I remember the first time somebody played Wong, Black Panther, Arnim Zola on me. I think I had to like turn my phone off and take a walk. I was
that is disgusting when you get that played on you. Yeah. Yep. I'm surprised so many people still play that. That is still like
now you can symbiote Spider-Man and really jack it up.
Yeah. In fact, I think speaking of Galactus, Butt's Galactus deck has Galactus in it, but he also has that combo. So he has the symbiote, he has Black Panther, and Surfer stuff too. It's just all over the place.
Yeah, I have one of those with Namora with Scarlet Spider as well. There's like a million things you can do to like turn 6. You have a plethora of evil options.
Yep. Just different fun ways you can do things in the game. So
that's a big part of it too. It's just like there's no better feeling than either coming up with, or more likely for me, finding a really amazing cook, and you're just like, wow, never would have thought of that.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. Yeah. I mean, cards that people don't, a lot of times it's not a card that maybe a lot of people play with or something like that. And you find something that just works and you're like, oh, this is kind of cool that it works that way. But yeah, no, it's that. And a lot of people would complain about that too. That, well, there's not enough cards, where not everybody already knows what decks you can. That's not true. There's just combinations people haven't tried or haven't done. And you find out that, and I watched that video. I think KM did that video with Butt about that deck. And I watched the video and I learned some things too, and he was kind of saying that, look, they think I'm always going to play Galactus. I never play it. He said, I hardly ever, it's basically the thought of it that gets them to play and fill that lane. And then the next thing you know, he said, I Zola Black Panther and I win the game because of that. And he said, so it's the thought, it's putting the thought in people's heads that you have the symbiote there and you're going to, okay, he's playing Galactus, and nope, you're not playing Galactus. So yeah, there's so many different ways that you could play this game. And a lot of it is just coming up with something, like you said, coming up with something different. So, all right, well, let's take a look. We're going to take a look. Obviously, we have March season coming up. We already got the last card. We got Diamondback. Did you get to play it all with Diamondback?
I have used Diamondback once, but I am very excited about it. That is a card that I think will only be better in the future when people stop playing Luke in every single one.
Yeah, Luke Cage.
I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, Luke Cage is everywhere right now, especially with all the people playing Scream in the new mode and everything like that. And yeah, Luke Cage is really all over the place. So until that calms down, but yeah, Diamondback, LaFay, they're gonna be really good. I think in that list, in that top.
Yeah, I think Diamondback's probably the best of the month. I think it was kind of a disappointing month. I'm a big Red Wing fan. I think it's a fun card. I don't think it's a amazing winning every time card, but yeah. Kind of disappointing month.
It kind of was. Sam is the one that's used the most, for sure. But I often wonder, I think it's mainly just because you're getting that shield on the board early. And then if you get him out and stuff like that, it's just an easy way to increase the card and stuff like that. But yeah, I agree. It was kind of a lackluster month.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's look at next month and we'll look at those a little bit. So I'm going to get to him last. Actually, I have him out of order here. Let's look at. So we get Ezon.
Yes.
He is a 6'9" now. Now this went through major changes when he first came out. I think wasn't he a 6'14", which we was data mined at first. I think it was much bigger.
Yeah. I think so.
But he is now a 6'9". After each turn, put a card from your hand that didn't start in your deck here. So pretty interesting. I mean, he is was he in Eternals?
He was briefly seen in Infinity War, or he was seen like stabbing his staff down and wiping out the planet. It was either in Guardians or Infinity War. I don't recall which one it was.
Oh yeah, that was in Guardians of the Galaxy. That was in the very first one. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
So yeah, he's an Eternal.
Yep.
This one's interesting. I feel like the 6 cost is what threw me on this one, because it seems like you either need a turn 7 or need to be an Arishem or need to blink it out somehow. I don't know. I see the vision, but again, kind of like with some of this month's cards, it doesn't seem like the most plug and play. It seems pretty specific to an Arishem deck, which is funny because originally they had the legendary tag where I thought that it was going to go the way of not being able to be part of Arishem.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. When we saw that legendary thing, we were kind of speculating as to what that could be. Like, what does legendary mean? Does that mean that like you can't, I don't know, like you can't have, like maybe they would make like RSM legendary and you can't have 2 of them in the same deck or something like that. Yeah, I was wondering that too.
The other thing I could see here, and again, to go back to old decks that I haven't played in a while, Hammer Bros, sort of a Thor, Jane Foster, like a Jane Jaw, where you have Lockjaw and you're swapping out, because this could drop early through Lockjaw, and this could pull out the hammers.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that'd be a bit different way to look at. People still always try to play that deck. It's there's a lot of love out there for that Thor's deck, and they're still trying to make it work, but it
never
tough.
works for me. I went up against somebody who had Wong, Beta Ray Bill, Tribunal.
Okay.
And I was like, that's a lot of things that have to go your way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the Lockjaw one definitely does not work well anymore.
No,
and it gets outpowered.
So this is one of those cards where I don't particularly see the vision personally, but I'm sure it's good, and I see a lot of other people excited. So this is one where I'm like, I can't wait to see what other people cook up that I can then enjoy.
Yeah, I would agree. I'll have to see what happens and where it gets placed. But that is out. Is this which one is the season pass card? I can't remember.
Season pass is Agamotto.
Okay, that's the Agamotto. So we'll go there next. I have Agamotto somewhere. There he is. Okay,
this is my guy.
This is going to be fun, man, with the spells and stuff like that. Yeah, this is going to be...
If I take my hat off, I look like this. So no, these spells, like I love Nico. Nico is one of my go-to for the randomness, and these spells are incredible. I'm psyched for this one.
I got to pull them up because I thought I had slides for them, but I don't.
I don't know if that was one of those weird data mine ones where like the art was there and then it wasn't there.
Yeah. It's kind of like now they Conchu's thing too didn't have the artwork.
These are the ones that do banish, right?
Yes.
So I'm really excited about the banish mode. And I think it's really cool to play a card that just does something but doesn't take up the space. So you play it, it happens, it's gone, and you can't get it back. And I know they mentioned that other cards were going to get banish, and I'm very curious about that. I've always wondered about the functionality of something like Yondu, where if Yondu hits an X-23 or Wolverine, why doesn't that count to put it on the board? So I'm wondering if something like Yondu might switch to banish a card from the deck.
Yeah, that could be. They're changing some wording up, I know, that they mentioned. So that could be a possibility.
I like that. I'm a big fan of precision of language. So I like when they I'll notice things like one of the best. I loved it when they did the like lowercase C cost versus uppercase C cost.
Oh yeah.
That I was like, oh, thank God, this is so much more clear. And everybody was like, what does it mean? I don't understand it. And I was like, no, it's obvious. I think maybe not.
Oh man, I'm gonna read these out. We have the Winds of Watum is a 2/0. On reveal, afflict an enemy card here with -5 power and move it right. And then that's at the end of that, it says banish this in parentheses. So pretty good one. Again, we're getting another good affliction card. But the kicker to that is it's getting moved. So a lot of times when you're doing affliction, it's just to the one lane and stuff like that. But this one's going to literally move it to the right. So again, pretty powerful in that affliction shell as long as people stop playing Luke Cage.
Yep.
All right, what else we got here? We have, let me go back. We have Temporal Manipulation. Temporal Manipulation is on reveal. Give Agamotto a +3. Put him into your hand. If he's not in play, banish this. So this automatically gives him, that's a 1/0, by the way. So that would automatically give Agamotto 3. So he would now be a 5/13. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that's great. I feel like that's a better version of Thaddeus, where it's really targeted. And I love this idea because it shuffles them into your hand, but maybe so many of them, I think there's another one that affects Agamotto directly, but doesn't do any good if you don't draw him. So any draw mechanic, especially for something like this, I think is really powerful because A, you have a 5/10, which is incredible. And B, you're thinning your deck. You're making sure that you get to play this. It's just, I love the synergy that the spells have with the card.
Yep. Agreed. Bolts of Balthok, 3/0. On reveal next turn, you get a +4 energy. That's pretty huge.
Yeah.
+4 energy to do with what you will kind of, Wiccan kind of similarly does things like that, but man, that's like having an instant Wiccan.
It's also, if you played the previous one, you basically get to play Agamotto for free. He's a 1/10 or a 1 whatever.
Yeah, that's true. Or a 1/13. Yeah, very true. And then lastly is Images of Icon. or icon. 4-0 on reveal, transform your other cards here into copies of the highest power one, and then banish this. Could you imagine? Oh my gosh! You imagine if you have like a Hulk or something in there, just make like a whole thing of Hulks, or something huge
or
like that.
Boosted Agamotto.
Oh, yeah, you could do that for Agamotto. Yeah, that's true.
I love
you
the
get him out
idea.
early.
Sometimes I like to think about the reality of something. Like I used to love putting a Hulkbuster on a squirrel because the idea of a squirrel inside the Hulkbuster armor is funny to me.
Yeah, that is.
So just transforming a squirrel into a Hulk, something like that. I really hate Clog. Debris is just
I'm not a fan either.
But if you can turn goblins or rocks into Hulks, that would be great. So I love these. Here's the question: do you think playing negative with Agamotto is cope? Is that possible? So you could pull all the spells because they're all 0 power.
They are, yeah. That's interesting. That's
I don't know.
That's interesting.
It's a lot of things that have to go your way.
They would. You'd kind of have to set it up almost like a regular negative deck. You'd want to set it up that way. You'd probably have to include all the other kind of cards that you would normally do in that too. You'd have to have Jane in there and stuff like that too. Yeah.
I also wonder again with Lockjaw, is this a similar sort of thing? What is the King Eitri? I don't use him ever. Does he summon 0 cost card? What is his
Eitri pulls out
something that didn't start?
Let me look.
Sorry, I always forget, but
I forget too because I play the card. I play the card so few. I never ever play that card.
I think he works with. I know he works with Airsham, so I think it's cards that didn't start in your deck.
Let's find out. Activate. Draw a card from your deck that didn't start there.
So he could work. Maybe he's somewhat feasible.
Yeah. Because that would bring the spells out too. Now they're only giving you, what is it? 4? Are you getting? No, you're getting 4 in the deck, so you're getting all 4 of them. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be a fun card. This should be a pretty fun season pass, especially as opposed to last month's and stuff.
I'm excited, and again, there's so much variance. Like, a good season pass card, like Surtur, great season pass card, but kind of boring pretty quick.
It was just the big dumb idiots lists that came out of that. Yeah,
good, but not exciting. This, I think, I also just look forward to a meta that feels really varied.
Yep.
Like this isn't something that you're, I'm going to tech against Agamotto. It's just like weird, crazy spells are going to happen.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. Everybody's going to play it differently, which will be kind of cool to see. I agree. All right. And so next up we have Starbrand. Speaking of big dumb idiots, he's a 3/10. Ongoing, your opponent has +3 power at each other location. So I mean, pretty good, I guess. And but I would assume he's going to go get slotted right into the Surtur lists, and just help you have power at the other locations and stuff like that too. So yeah, I mean, he's going to fit into those lists, I'm sure. People still love to play it. I saw a lot of Scar yesterday playing the new mode, which I was kind of surprised at. I really didn't think that people would be playing that deck in there, but they did. And so people just love their big guys. They just love the big guys.
Yeah, big cards go brewer is definitely there. I think I previewed this a little bit earlier in the chat was I used to love Sauron and 0.
Yeah.
And I think this brings that back. Like I love a card that is overstated and has a negative ongoing. Also, speaking of like, why would I do that? I remember when I first saw Sauron, I was like, why would I ever want to remove the abilities from my cards?
Yeah.
And I was like, because they purposefully add drawbacks. So I could see, I'm a big fan of Typhoid Mary. I like Red Skull. Yeah. I like Ebony Maw. I love all of these sort of, cards that are socially awkward and don't play well with others because of their abilities. So I see this bringing that back. And I think that's cool. If you join Snap within the last 2 years, you probably haven't seen Sauron. You probably don't use that much. Also, talk about a cool character to look up in the comics, Sauron.
I think Alex Kocha played with a Sauron list a little bit back in the day, where he was playing. But he was also playing hide the cards. So he had an Invisible Woman in the deck.
Yeah.
And then he was playing like hide, like if he got any of the early cards like Maximus, he would hide him behind Invisible Woman so he wouldn't get the card, but he would have like a big bunch of power at the end of the game because he'd have like Blizzard under there, Maximus under there. and stuff like that.
I
So
remember also like a super giant Taskmaster
Super Giant.
situation.
Yep. Yep.
Or like a good super giant Mystique. Those are
Yep.
always fun.
Yep.
But yeah, I think again, I think that the season pass should be the most flexible. That it's for everyone.
Yeah.
I think the spotlights can be a little bit more specific. So
Yep.
to me, I think this is like a 3.5 star. I don't know if we do ratings, but I'm excited to get it. I'm excited to play with it. It reminds me kind of Speed or one of the cards that like you like but you don't love.
Speed is very underrated.
I agree.
It's a really good card, and a lot of people just skipped it. They're like, "Oh no, this isn't a good card." And that card gets so big. Like by the time the game's over, you put that out, you're like, "Man, we would win a lane for you."
Also, thematically, I just love playing Speed next to Wiccan. I'm like, oh,
Speed, yep, brothers, yeah, I know, right? But yeah, we'll see how this performs. But yeah, they seem to be kind of supporting that SAR and lit type list. So yeah, could possibly be a thing that we might see make a comeback. We have Fire Hair, a 2/3. When one of your cards is destroyed, this uses that card's ability. Is it on? No, wait. Oh, on reveal. This uses that card's on reveal. Destroy deck? Would it be? I mean, would it be?
My
good
first thought here
deck?
is Misery.
Yeah.
Where you get another pop off.
Yeah. So this is going to go in mill.
Yep.
Yay.
For all the people who love mill.
Oh my God.
All two of them.
I couldn't believe there was something. And that was another thing. I even had a post on Twitter about it today, because in the Sanctum, some people are all playing mill. I'm like, guys, mill sucks in this mode. Don't play mill in there. It's not good. And they're like, oh, but I love mill. I'm like, oh my God, everybody loves that deck so much. And I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's like, what do you just love people running people out of cards? I guess I
also don't know why people like to Deadpool emote. Who knows what evil lurks?
I guess, yeah, I don't know, man. But yeah, no, you're probably right. This probably will fit in a mill deck. They don't really have a 2-cost. Do they have a 2-cost card?
You can do Fenris, you can do Cable.
Yeah, Zemo is a 3, but most of the time their two play would be Fenris Wolf, so you could probably easily replace Fenris Wolf with her.
Yeah. I don't know. 2/3 is kind of low statted for me. I'm not sure.
It's not a great stat line. Yeah. Fenris is only good because you can pull out a big card. If you Shang something and then you're pulling something big out of there, that's that makes him that much better. But
turn 6 Fenris is satisfying.
Yep, for sure. Then we have this card is going to be so much fun. I didn't even realize it until I saw all the different phases of the moon. I'm like, oh my gosh, she has a different phase of the moon for different types of things. This is going to be so good for discards.
The complexity of this too, like that you have to discard it over and over, but you can choose when to play it, and then when you play it is when the on reveal happens, but the on reveal changes. I love stuff like this. This is one. Also love the character, loved the voice of Abraham in the show. To me, my mood night. Great stuff. I love this. I don't. It might be awkward. It might be weird. I love discard. I'm a huge discard fan. I like how many different discard decks are all really consistent. I love Hela. I love Dracula, sort of Apocalypse. I love the new Bullseye.
Bullseye.
Incredible. So I just want to get my hands on this. Even if it's bad, I'm going to enjoy playing it.
And this is going to kind of take a different type of discard list. You're not going to really necessarily be able to play the static list with this.
No.
Because you'll see it when discarded returns to it in its next phase on reveal. Resurrect the card you discarded to another location with its power set to 5. So these are just some of the bonuses it gives you. He gives you during the different phases of the moon that he had. I think I have another phase back here. Yeah, this is the full one.
Yep.
So this is the 6/12 version. On reveal, resurrect the card you discarded to another location with its power set to 12.
And he's 12.
And he's this. So you're going to have 2 12-powered cards out on the board. That's sick.
But you have to be able to have discarded him twice and discarded something else.
Yeah.
So that's 3 discards. Which discard, it's going to matter where this comes in with Blade. It's going to matter where I think Lady Sif's going to come in here. Maybe you drop Death out. Yeah. But it's tough because other stuff gets in the way.
You think you could even possibly play like a Black Knight? Could you imagine playing Black Knight discard with this kind of too?
Yeah.
Because now you're going to have you might have a sword where if you discard them, you get oh man. Yes. There's so many different.
I like Black Knight. I think Black Knight is maligned unfairly.
Yep. Black Knight deck took me to Infinite the one month. It was
I
the
had
one with
I had a Black Knight Agatha deck.
That could have been Agatha might have been in that list now that I think about it, because
when they changed her to be every other turn.
Yep.
You could do some cool stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so excited for this. This is like, five brain, galaxy brain play that I'm really excited to try.
Yeah.
Plus, I just think it's a cool. I like the moon.
Yep. I think this is going to be great. Do I have the other phase?
No, it's just the 3.
Oh yeah, it's just the yep. What did I do?
And I like that the card art changes, like the logo changes subtly with each phase.
Yeah, I agree. Yep, I should have kept that that way to begin with. I don't have the 3rd phase. Yeah, I thought I had them all in here, but I don't have the 3rd phase. I think
there was. You had it. It was 7.
Oh, was it here?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, 6, 7. The waxing one. Okay, there we go. When discarded, returns in its final phase. On reveal, resurrect a card you discarded to another location with its power set to 7. So that's dude. This is I don't see anything bad about this card.
No, even if you just get the first pop off and play it, or even if you just play it without discarding it, and if you discard an Iron Man or something like that, like there's good or a Gore. Like I'm a big fan of the Silver Samurai Gore combo. That can be good. They
better have some cool effects with him changing. Could you imagine if they show like the different phases of the moon as he changes?
That would be incredible.
Oh man, yeah. This is going to be a really sick card. I think I am missing a card though. I'm missing. Don't we have Ghost Rider too?
Oh, I wasn't sure about him. I didn't know if he was part of an event or the first.
Oh yeah, he could be. Yeah.
Although speaking on that, I think there was a note from Second Dinner recently that talked about Lasher, where basically they were saying that they're going to correct if Lasher is negative, it will increase the card that it hits.
Oh yeah,
that's how the math works. And they made a comment about changing that made me think all the people who think you can use the first Ghost Rider with the goblins.
Yep.
I don't know if it's going to work that way. I think they might shut that down.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it would kind of seem like they might. Yeah, I would think so. And who knows? Like with all these things, they could change these right up until the last second too. We can go through and rank them if you want to. If you have a stack rank, let's go through. Well, I go a little further here. So we'll start off with Agamotto. What's your?
That's 5-star. This was my number 1. I'm also pretty generous with stars, so I go straight 5-star with Agamotto, number 1.
I would agree. I think he's going to be another really, really good season pass card. They seem to really be making very, very strong season pass cards. Some of which recently I'm surprised haven't gotten nerfed. Like some of them, Galacta, I thought for sure was going to get hit. So I think this is going to be a really strong card. Yeah, this could again be the best card of the month. Not saying the most fun, but this could be the best card of the month again. Very simply. So, Izon.
I think 3.5. I think he's probably 3rd for me.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think a 3-star, 3.5-star would probably be fair. Yeah. I was thinking about a 3 here.
I'll asterisk that with I'm ready to be wrong, and I just don't see the vision. But currently, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. I could see that. I could see 3. I might even go back maybe a little bit depending on what it does. But yeah, I could see a 3-star here. I think that's fair. Starbrand.
I think this is one of those where I think I'll play this a lot, but I think it's probably a 3-star card. I think he's 4th overall for me. Yep. I will like him because he does one thing and does it well, but I don't think it's that exciting.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that I've heard talk about this month or do rankings for this month, I think a lot of them would say that this was their skip week, that they might end up skipping him altogether. I don't skip any of the cards. I'm collection complete, so I'll definitely get him. But yeah, I think like you said earlier, I think it'll be interesting to try it in certain deck types and stuff like that, and just see like what he can do. Try him in the Sauron list and things like that. But yeah, I would be right around like 2.5, 3. I think as well with him. He could maybe be the worst card of the month, but we'll have to see.
Zero Surfer. Zero Surfer and him and Sebastian Shaw just hold down their lanes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Surfer deck for sure. Yeah. Yeah. 310. Not to say that Surfer wouldn't want it. Yeah. That could be a way to go for sure. Anytime a 3 card comes out, everybody says Surfer. So Fire Hair 2/3.
This is my bottom. I give this 2 stars. This is my worst card of the month. I don't see it.
Yeah, like I said, unless she works in Mill, that's the only thing I could really see it making any kind of a difference there. But again, I don't know. That Mill seems pretty static too with what it plays. So I don't know if that's going to want her in there. I certainly don't see. People are saying, "Well, put it in a destroy deck." I definitely don't see that.
No,
that list is so static. You played it, that you. I don't.
It's got the 12 cards that it works with. You can barely get a Tuma in there, and he's actually good.
Yeah, I would say if you're as a skippable week, I'd probably look at this one.
Yeah, this would be my biggest skip week.
Yeah, I agree. Khonshu.
This is my 4-star number 2. I think personal 5-star because I'm so excited about this.
Yep.
I would only knock it down because it's really specific to discard, and not everybody likes that. I don't think it really flexes into any other spots, but I think this is amazing. This is the kind of design that I love to see. Just super fun, super weird.
Yep. Yeah, this is very cool. I like these different kind of cards. It makes for fun, like through everything. Like when you watch the creators play with it and stuff like that, and see what they're doing with it on streams and things like that. Regis will have a blast with this. I know he will.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see the content.
Yeah, and it's just fun to see it, and so yeah, I would agree. I think this is up there. I obviously because it's limited to discard. Yeah, 4 is probably a fair score because it's not going to fit in every single deck. But yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun as well. Yeah, overall though, I do think. I mean, we're looking at a couple cards that you could say are kind of meh, but I think overall, if anything, with this upcoming month, I think it's going to be a fun month to play the game.
Yep. I think it'll be very fun. I think it'll shake things up. Hopefully it'll, push some people. The other nice thing about a good season pass is hopefully more people get it. So they stop playing whatever boring deck they were playing before that you're tired of facing and try something new.
Agreed. Yeah, I agreed. Sometimes the meta does get very stale and it does kind of need a shake up. And now, after this meta for sure with all these new cards is going to be a toxic meta. You're going to see toxic everywhere until people start putting Luke Cage in all of their decks and that ends that. But yeah.
Can you imagine the animation for all of the Agamotto spells? Those could be really cool.
Yeah, it is.
Or just the banish animation if it,
you see it just like fade out or something like that. Yeah, that'd be kind of neat. Yeah, I'm excited. I think this next month's going to be cool. Look, it looks like we're really getting some fun upcoming seasons. Obviously, after that, we have What If, which, I mean, Infinity Ultron, Strange Supreme, who I love. That's my favorite character from What If, the evil Doctor Strange.
Oh, that was the best episode. I loved that episode.
Yeah, and Captain Carter, of course, so many people love her. Kahori, that's going to be a fun season also. And then they've got to do something. I talked about this on a prior episode, but I'll get your thoughts on this. We talked a little about Fantastic Four. They've got to have a Fantastic Four season.
They have to. There's no way they don't.
Yeah, and I mean they've got so many characters they could still pull in. You have Franklin Richards. You have Mole Man as a villain. You have Herbie the robot they can put in there now. So there's a ton of things that they can bring in. I know
what's the character Red Ghost?
Red Ghost is who Malkovich is playing, the one that has the ape army.
Yep.
Yeah. There's so many they could do. They've got to have a Fantastic Four series or season. So yeah, that's going to be fun, man. I'm looking forward to that. Somebody mentioned, I think it was Res Snapper. Res Snapper does videos about upcoming, like kind of predicting what upcoming seasons will be. And he talked about if they don't do Fantastic Four, if they don't want to because they already have the Fantastic Four out, do a Herald season and have the Heralds of Galactus.
Wow.
And I'm like,
that would be cool.
Oh, I would love that because then I would get a Galactus card back.
That would be great. Yeah, that would be really interesting.
That would be neat because there are a lot of them. There are a lot of different ones. I mean,
it's a different Herald in the movie because it's the female playing it.
Yep. He had Terrax, I think, was one, and there's a whole bunch of different Heralds that he had throughout the year, so they could do something like that. But yeah, there has to be one coming for Fantastic Four for sure. Thunderbolts they already had, unfortunately, because they thought that was when the movie was coming out or when it was supposed to come out.
That was a good season.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it's going to be a fun upcoming months, I think, for Marvel Snap. And I said this when I was talking to Glazer, I mentioned this to I think in one of his podcasts. I said, whenever Marvel is good, things that surround Marvel, like or Marvel properties, are good too.
Yep.
And that's only going to help Snap.
Yeah. It's amazing to see the rising tide effect that one thing builds to another. Even going back to what we were saying on comics, the number of comics I've checked out because there's a cool character in Snap that I was like, who's this?
Yep, absolutely. So before I let you go, just want to get some thoughts from you, like general thoughts about the game, because I like to ask this of everybody. So tell me one thing that if you were a dev and you could improve, what would it be? And then also tell me one thing about tell me what your favorite thing is about the game currently as it stands.
So I have two answers. The first one hopefully is easy. They got to fix fast forward. If I have to sit and watch Odin on Wong on Surfer or Hazmat, like I just put the phone down and I go away. That's that.
And the bullseye one's too fast.
Yeah, the bullseye one's too fast. You miss actually what gets discarded and what happens.
Yeah.
If I have any impact to the Snap community, it's fixing Odin Wong fast forward. Yeah. But my other thing is I have an idea for Luke Cage that could be great because I'm a big fan.
Oh yeah, I want to hear that. Yep.
Yeah, I like this idea. I wrote this up on Twitter. I'll retweet it. Sort of differentiating between steal and afflict. So steal happens off the board. So something like Cassandra Nova, Silver Sable, even Scorpion, which happens in the hand. And I would love to see Luke be ongoing and be that cards can't have their power reduced, but lose what I call the healing effect. So let's say you play Scorpion on 2, hits their hand, they play one of those cards out, it's reduced by 1, then they play Luke after. It wouldn't heal that reduced by 1 back up to its power. Okay. It would just be once Luke is on the board, no more reduction can be done.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay.
And I like that too, because then one of the things that has killed me is as a Scream fan, or I think there's another one I can't think of right now that steals on the board. Rocket Raccoon and Groot, where they now when Luke goes down, Scream is basically dead. Like it used to be that Scream would increase, and then I understand why they fixed that. You can't steal, you can't gain without loss if it's a steal effect. But I think it would empower cards like Cassandra and Scorpion and Silver Sable that hit it in the deck for steal, and it would encourage Luke to be played in tempo and on curve, because one of the most disappointing is, and I do it myself, is the turn 6 Luke, where it's like, haha, board's recovered. Yeah, you'd have to do it for your own too. So things like Hazmat, which affects your side, if you played a Luke, they also would not be healed. So I would love to see Luke have some sort of thing like that. Or I don't like the one location. I think that was a mistake.
Oh yeah,
but do something where it isn't quite just like poof, everything's gone.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, there's been many times when I play my Toxic list, I have Malekith in there. Malekith hides the Luke Cage.
Yep.
So then my last turn is always Hazmat and one other card, and I'm winning the game because he pops out, he erases all my deficit, and my opponent has all theirs. So something, I think I agree. Something needs to be done where you'd want to play him on curve. So that's a great solution.
Yeah, and I feel like Glenn has said this before, but you don't want a card that is just the sort of like brain dead, play this and it solves everything. You don't want the Do Ex Machina card. Right. You want to be able to think. And what I like about that is it doesn't reduce Luke to pointlessness, right? But you have to think about when you play it. Like the curve matters more.
Yeah.
Otherwise, best thing in Snap. I really like the new game mode. I really like. I'm gonna cheat a little bit, and I think it's the Snap community. As I've joined Twitter and as I've met people like yourself and other folks online, it's been really fun to have an outlet to talk about the game, to commiserate, to swap decks. I love sometimes if I like, I got some time, I'm gonna Snap. I'll just go on Twitter and read a bunch of decks or read a bunch of things, or sort of interact with the community. And I played alone for a long time, and it's nice to have people around now who love the same thing.
100%. Yeah, I agree. That's one of the reasons why I love doing this, is because I get to meet people like yourself and chat with people like yourself about the game, because I love the game too. And yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you so much, man, for coming out.
It was so much fun.
We spent almost the whole first half of the show talking about Marvel stuff, which was
amazing. Yeah. Thank you for making me think about the Max. I'm definitely gonna go find that on HBO now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's so good. Yeah. In fact, I think I just, it's funny you mentioned it because I was just looking it up, and they're re-releasing the Blu-ray collection for it.
I'll have to pick that up.
Yeah, it's already listed. I think pre-order available. Cool. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get that too because I still have mine. It's funny because it was, I think it may have even been a bootleg that I had that someone actually made the cover for it and stuff, and they recorded it and everything like that. And my dog was just a puppy. My dog got at the DVD section and she started chewing on all the DVDs. So mine's all kind of chewed up. But yeah,
this is.
Yep, there you go. Yep. That's how mine kind of looked. They took the picture in color, but it was definitely a bootleg one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be cool to get it. But yeah, I definitely watched it, and I'm pretty sure it was on Max. So,
yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks. This was fun. Great chat.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, you are absolutely welcome to come back anytime. Of course, it is Birb. They can find you that way on Twitter, right? What's your
Birb
Twitter
Snap?
At Birb Snap on Twitter. So BIRBSNAP.
Yep.
Very cool, man. Thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. And guys, yeah, go chat with Birb on Twitter if you're on Twitter, and chat some Snap with him as well. And then don't forget, I do have the rest of this week. So obviously Thursday is when the patch comes out. I will do my little OTA review, not the patch, the OTA. I'll do my little OTA review on Thursday. Probably be out in and around 6 p.m. Eastern time, in and around there. It'll be out on audio. And then on Friday, I have another guest joining me as well. I am always forgetting names. I am so bad with thinking of. I will tell you in a second because I don't want to not mention his name.
Reed Richards.
It's Reed Richards. Yeah. Could you imagine? Let me see. I got to pull up my Maverick 0023 from Twitter is joining me on Friday. So I'll have another guest. And then next week on Monday, I have Nina is Noob is joining me on the show. I love her content. Makes me laugh every time I watch her because she's another Galactus stan. So she tries every way she can to play Galactus and cracks up laughing about it. So I have Nina on the show on Monday. So don't forget to check those out. This, of course, is on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you leave me comments and all that good stuff. If you're listening on audio, make sure you follow the pod. Make sure you can leave comments there too on Apple, I know, Spotify as well, and all that for me. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. And thank you all that listen to the show on a weekly basis, no matter where it is out. I appreciate all of you. And again, thank you so much to Birb for being on the show. Appreciate you coming out. And it was an amazing discussion. Always great to talk to another Snap fan and another Marvel fan as well. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Snap Decisions. This is your Snap DJ signing off. Make sure you please stay safe and be kind to one another always. And hopefully I will talk to you all on the next episode of Snap Decisions. Have a great night, everybody, and I'll talk to you all soon.
If only I had spidey senses.